Good morning, everyone. I hope you're all well. Whether this is the start of your Wednesday or not, we have Dinah on chat today. Hello, Dinah.
Hi, everyone. Hi, Basti.
Excellent. And we're having people start to say good morning now.
Looking forward to a bit of a prance about.
Yes, I'm definitely in need of it, but it is a beautiful day today.
It is
See the
gorgeous.
sun shine on you.
Yeah.
And we've got Liz and Mary, Sally and Jane. Everyone else who's coming along, please feel free to say hello in the chat. Any questions and Dinah will field them.
I will. And Mary, I wanted to say to Mary, I'm so delighted at hearing how you've benefited from the classes. Fantastic.
Always nice hearing from you. It's nice to know that these classes are not only appreciated by people, but it is actually having a difference because it is for us. That's for certain.
Yeah. Hello, Chris and Anne. Nice to see you.
Lovely, lovely. Right, so
I'll go on stage. I'll see you later. I'll be here.
We'll see you along the way, Dinah. Thank you.
Bye.
So if you have any paper and pen handy, always good to have it nearby. We'll do some scans in a minute. I'll also get us to stand up and start as I normally get us to start. But just to remind us, we are in the fire element, and we are doing the pericardium, or the heart protector. I believe we started it last week, so we've got the point of the week coming up this week. It's a fantastic point. I mean, it's a brilliant point, one of the most studied points of all acupuncture points. Okay, so we'll come back to that in a bit. For now, let us stand up and start scanning. So whenever you're ready, come up. And I like to start us all off just taking a moment to connect with each other. So if you just, in standing or in sitting, bring your attention inside. Just let yourself relax for a moment. And then just have a sense of being in a circle with everyone that is here in this class, whether it's in this moment now as it's live, or whether it's in this moment now as someone may be watching on replay. It's all the same moment. So have a sense of this lovely big circle of people who are going to be joining in. So it's like a proper class. Just appreciate being in this community together. Lovely. So with this group feeling then, you can bring your attention back out a bit and up to the top of your head. And just bring the attention to the top of the head, sinking down through the skull, and the back of the head, sides of the head, your face, and into the neck. How's your neck today? The throat in front, and you've got the spine in the back and muscles all the way around. And how's that relating to your shoulders today? Down through the shoulders, and you've got the scanning through the chest and the upper arms. Scanning down through the ribs, and you've got your diaphragm in the ribs. What's that feeling like inside today? And further out, how are your elbows? Forearms. And also down through the belly. How's your belly today? Your abdominals, your lower ribs, back. Just noticing. And then getting down to the pelvis. How does your pelvis feel? What's it like? The hips, buttocks, tops of the thighs, through the wrists and hands and the little bones of the fingers. And then through the rest of the thighs, down to the knees, largest joints in the body. How are your knees today? Down through the calf muscles and the shin bones, all the way down to the ankles and the feet. Don't rush the feet. How are your feet today? Okay. And now just get a sense, an overall sense of how you are as a whole. And if you have paper and pen, this is a moment to try and get a bit of image or words or something of what that's like. So if I'm going to do me, a rather strange picture so far. There we go. And I'm going to get us to scan through the 3 burners now. So if we come back up, away from the pen and paper for a moment, and just come back to our sense of being. And then remember, we've got the 3 burners. So you've got the upper burner here, from the sort of throat down to the top of the ribs or the diaphragm. And then you got from the diaphragm down to pretty much your belly button. And then you got from the belly button down to the pelvis. Upper, middle, lower. We're going to start with the lower burner. So bring your attention down to this lower portion of your torso. Front, sides, back, inside. Just get a sense of the way of it, or a snapshot of what it would be like as an image. What's it like? Okay, let's not dwell too long. Let's move up from the belly button to the bottom of the sternum or the diaphragm. This is your middle burner. And again, front, sides, back, and inside. How is your middle burner today? What's it like in here? Much difference from below to here? Okay. Now we bring our attention above there to the throat in this upper burner. And again, front, sides, back, inside. What's it all like? Okay. And just again, briefly check in from the middle burner to the upper burner, not the apple burner. The upper burner and the middle burner, is there much difference? And we're just going to briefly, if you have the pen and paper, to come back out and just make a little bit of a note on your image. Oh, there we go. To sort of show a bit of what that's like. And then we'll check with the poll. Okay. Well, I'm certainly in need of the Wednesday class today, because as you can see, my middle burner is doing something strange. Oh. So now I will put a poll out for everyone. First of all, which burner do you want to work on most? So here we go. Are you wanting to sort of focus a bit more on lower, middle, or upper? So here we go. There's about a third of you, a bit more signed in. So it's really changing about today. Okay, so it's looking a little bit like there's a few people with middle burner stuff, but it's fairly even so far. It's about 3/4 of you have put in answers so far. Very even. Very even for the amount of people who have answered so far. Okay, there's a few more of you. I'll give you another moment. But at the moment, it's looking also like the middle burner for most people. Although again, still very even. Lower and upper completely even with each other. And then most of the other people going for middle burner. Excellent. Now I have another poll I would like to ask you. Where is it? Here we go. Is your energy too up or down or about right? So I didn't take you through it directly, but I'm wanting to know if you noticed. If you have an obvious notice of, was your energy sort of quite up? Was it like ungrounded, balanced, fairly grounded, or like really low? Here we go. And we've got about half of you have answered so far, and there's quite a lot going for feeling a bit too sort of heavy. There's a bit of ungroundedness, but most people are saying a bit too heavy. So this is interesting. This is really interesting. Now, part of the reason why I'm looking into this will become clear when we do the point of the week, but we'll work with it as we go through. Okay. So, yeah, let's get started. Let's stand up and find yourself as nice and sort of straight as you can. If you're standing, then feet hip to shoulder width apart. I prefer shoulder width apart. I feel it gives you more stability. Just take a couple of breaths to kind of arrive. And then have a sense of top of the head, sense of a connection from above, almost like it's sort of a string that's kind of, holding you up. Allow your chin to just gently relax, almost tucking in. And the spine just hangs down like a string of pearls. So it's just relaxedly hanging down. Soft in the front of the hips, soft in the knees, soft in the ankles. So you're just kind of, the body's open, the base is relaxed on the ground. In this way, notice the feeling of the ground underneath you. Get a sense of feeling that earth connection. We'll come back to the kidney 1 point that we all love to play with in a minute. But just for the moment, have a sense of your feet opening, legs softening, feeling the earth all the way through the body. Okay, now I know some of you said you're really quite already too grounded and a bit heavy. So what we'll do is with that, we'll have a sense of the head being just lifted a little bit more and the spine just open all the way through the upper body. Shoulders relax away from the midline. A little bit of space under the armpits so the arms are just hanging. Now with your sense of, am I a bit too or am I a bit too from here, with this sense of connection from above and connection from below, try and get a feeling of like taking your sense of, am I up here? Do I need to sink down a bit more? And let yourself physically sink all of the parts of your body down. If you are quite heavy, grounded feeling, you want to feel lighter, have a sense of up here being drawn up and opened out. So if you're a bit too ungrounded, focus on the sinking down. If you're feeling a bit too heavy, focus on the up here, opening out. Find your middle ground. Just going to start with that for a moment. Okay. So then start to have a little bit of a bounce in the knees, or a little bit of a sort of a a bounce in the shoulders if you're not going to be bouncing in your knees. Find a way of kind of getting a bit of a bounce and a jiggle through the body. And if you want to, you can make noise, especially if you've got a certain area that feels like, oh yeah, it's being a bit like, oof, ouch. Like I have a little bit of a tight left shoulder, so I can kind of put some sound into it and go, so if you've got any part of the body in particular, you can kind of try and get a bit of a sort of a shake into it. And if you've got a little rib somewhere, try and wobble it around, or maybe it's your foot and you need to kind of shake the foot out or give it some circles. So finding a place in your body to sort of focus some of this shaking into. I'm going to come back to my left side. And then taking the shaking into the whole body. Breathing always helps. I mean, in general, breathing just helps. Yeah. Okay, and then letting the shaking calm down. And letting it get smaller and smaller and smaller. Coming back to your central line, that's sort of above and below. And just noticing if there's any micro movements, any micro shaking going on. Any little bits of inside. Just finishing off. Really becoming more and more still. Through the middle, through the outer. Okay. Let's start with the burners. So you can step out a bit. So we're going to come to the lower burner first. As Cliff always says, the lower burner really does underpin everything. And in terms of the various different qualities of energy that we bring in to keep us alive, first and foremost, we get energy from our parents, from our ancestors, into the kidneys. And that has a lot of influence over the lower burner. Okay, so bring your hand over the front, the lower burner. And if you can reach your hand round to the lower burner at the back as well. If you can't though, then just imagine that you're reaching through to contact the back. So breathing in, letting everything settle down. Breathe out what you don't need. Let the warmth of your hands just hold and support the hara at the bottom here, the belly, the lower burner. Breathe in. Let it sink down, settle down in the lower burner. Breathe out what you don't need. It's like you're drawing in the life, the air, breathing in, letting it settle down into the lower burner, filling it up, breathing out. We'll do this a couple more times. If you enjoy visualizations, imagine this as a pool of water, right? This is a pool of water down here. As we breathe in, we're bringing light into the water. It's like we're shining light into the water. So breathe in that lovely heavens, Qi from above. Let it settle and breathe out what we don't need. Last time. Let it settle. Okay. We'll just do some circles around the lower burner. Now, if you are feeling like you're a bit too up and ungrounded, if that was what you put in, then you can do more kind of like sort of vigorous turns of your hands, strong circles, really trying to bring the energy in down here in the lower back. If you felt that you were quite heavy, then do much lighter circles. almost like you're kind of focusing on the bringing the energy up, bringing the energy up. So that's one way of working with this, is the sort of your mind and the way that you lay your attention as well as your intention will change the way that the energy moves. And the way that the energy moves changes how the body feels and therefore forms itself. And this is put together in a really nice, easy way, which the Chinese have said for many years: mind leads the qi, qi leads the blood. Very simple, very true. Okay, so letting this kind of building up of energy. Okay, just letting that settle into the lower burner, spreading throughout this lower space. Now, just to make sure, we're going to open up kidney 1. So grab a chair if you need to, or sit down. I'll grab this chair so we can see. So you can see my foot quite clearly, 2/3 of the way up. Diddly-do, underneath the ball of the foot. Just get in there nice and strong. Now, if you find it very difficult to reach the sole of your foot, it's very handy to have something like a tennis ball, golf ball, even the sort of corner or edge of a piece of wood or something to be able to kind of like press this part of your foot into. It's really, really nice to just do this occasionally. Even better still, of course, is getting someone else to do it for you. Okay, so kidney 1 opens up to the earth. It opens up to the yin. And so it's really nice to just make sure that you can even get into the rest of the sole of your foot, up on the ball of the foot, toes, squeeze them all around and find in between some of the bones and the spaces we don't normally reach into in our feet, even on the top of the foot. Just to kind of open it all out. And then give it a little bit of a bang with the fist. And if that feels a bit much, do it lightly, or you can do it with an open hand. Just nice tapping, just like a little wake up. Okay, and then just lay the feet down, or give yourself a moment to notice what's the difference between those 2 feet. Okay, so now we can go to the other foot. Again, kidney 1, excuse me, below the ball of the foot, and it's about 2/3 of the way up. 1/3 down, another third, another third. So, and here, squeezy, squeezy, squeezy. Oh God, it feels so nice opening up kidney 1 like this. And it doesn't have to be super exact. I mean, the quality where you're going to be getting lots of connection is going to be all around here. So if you're just, going for it all around the place, and then you're like, ooh, this bit here seems to be really good. That's often like you found today where your sort of best quality connection to the energetic quality of that point is. Then they're not always exactly the tiny dot that you'll see on an acupuncture chart map. Not only can they be bigger, they can also potentially move about, just like a stream in a landscape can shift about a little bit, over time. And it's no different to the human body. We are essentially a landscape. And the points and the channels are like water flows. It's one of the analogies. Okay. And you can have a little play with the feet, play with the toes, move the bones around, and give them a tap. Again, if this is a bit much, lighter, use an open hand. Sometimes it's nicer to just do this anyway, because with working with Qi, it's not so much about, you know, if you want to have a greater effect, pour more Qi in. You know, it's not bigger, better, faster, stronger, all that kind of business. It's like, it's finding the right quality for that Qi in that moment. And that's just, you've got to just kind of give it a go and feel like you're going to get it right. And if it doesn't quite feel right, then just shift and change. That's part of the kind of like the mystery, the unknown quality that we have to allow. Okay. Lay that down. And then again, just allow your feet to kind of notice, yeah, for me, much more even, much more open. Almost like I've got like big, nice, fluffy feet. Okay, I'm going to move the chair back. So we're now going to that's nice. So we're going to open up the channel, the kidney channel, which is like, if this is the inside of the leg, and this is the front of the leg, and that's completely the back of the leg, it's like we're sort of on the corner between inside and back. You probably have done this many times before, but just in case, I'll stand a little bit closer so you can see. So we're just going to tap down like this. So this is just opening up the kidney channel, connecting to the lower burner, allow that connection from the ground. We'll just do the other side. Okay. Take a nice breath in. I'll step back a bit so you can see my feet. And just have a feeling of kidney 1 opening up now. And noticing if that energy from the ground is more easily rising up. And notice how that feels in the lower burner. And with that, all of that connection, much nicer. With all of that connection and that sense of energy, or whatever the quality is like for you, because it doesn't have to be thought of as energy. Excuse me. Notice how that affects the upper as well. So we've got down here the connection, kidney 1's nice and open, the earth Qi's just naturally rising, lower burner has been worked with a bit. How's that now affecting the sense of the upper body? Again, that sense of like above, below, are we up, are we down? How much easier is it to kind of find our middle ground? Okay, interesting. Now we're going to move to the middle burner. So the middle burner was the one which most people went with today. I certainly needed some work on the middle burner today. So we're going to do both the spleen, which is in the front, as well as the liver, which is in the sides. Now, we're going to start with the spleen. So we're going to tap the front of the belly, like this. And I'm actually going to get us to go down the stomach and then up the spleen. And they're just like train tracks, either side of the kneecap, going down to the feet. So we'll just tap down the front of the thighs, just outside of the knee, all the way down in a straight line to the top of the foot. And then coming up the inside of the foot, inside of the shin bone, inside of the kneecap, in just on the inner front of the thigh. One more time. Now, I'm just going to get us to spend a moment longer just below the knee. You may remember stomach 36. We've done it a few times now throughout the course of doing this, and it is one of the most fantastic points for tonifying, for strengthening Qi in general, but it especially works with the digestive system, of course, most notably in the middle bladder. So you go below the kneecap, and in that same sort of just outside of the shin bone, there's a bit of muscle there. You can use a loose fist. You can squat down. You can use an open hand and make more noise. And straight down. And this just gets the digestive energies sort of woken up and started, and it also encourages more Qi in the body. Now, the Qi for the stomach and spleen is said to bring the energy up and out to the four limbs. So if we're feeling very heavy, it's often that our digestive system is not bringing in the energy from the food very easily to our body. So being able to strengthen the digestive system, we'll be able to make our fluids more able to be used by the body, and we'll be able to bring the energy out to the four limbs more easily, thus being less heavy and more easy. Okay, so in order to help this, find your belly button, place one hand over, the other hand over that. Doesn't matter which hand, you do whatever feels right for you. And try and get a sense of like a warm nectar, honey, or whatever yumminess you like. It may even just be warm light moving in through your hands. Now, if I burp during this, it's because this often gets my digestive system going. But we're going to do circles. We're going in a clockwise way, which is going up on your right hand side, across and down on your left hand side. And this is following your digestive tract. That's what we're doing, really. And we go all the way around. So my ribs, they're like here. So I'm following just under the ribs. And then my pelvis is here. So we're following just above the pelvis. All the way around the belly button, all the way around the digestive system. Now, technically speaking, we would be counting and doing this 81 times. And I believe I've done this with you before. And it is because in China, they've always appreciated numbers, and the numerology, the quality, the Qi within numbers is very strongly used. Even some medical systems will encourage you to see certain numbers or hold certain numbers or to do certain things a certain number of times, therefore rebalancing your Qi. 81 times for doing this is because 9 is the most yang. So if we're trying to improve our digestive system, we want to strengthen it, bringing a bit of yang energy in. 9 times 9, yang times yang. So remember, we're kind of bringing in that warmth or light or nectar, honey, nourishment into the digestive organs. And again, if this is, you want to move a bit lighter and a bit slower, that's absolutely fine. It's absolutely fine. Or if you want to really kind of go for it, yum, 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 yum. Just do what's right for you, though. Okay. I'll just say 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81, and then let your hands come back to the center again. Don't have to force any stopping. Just if there's any micro movements in the arms and the hand and in the belly, just let them come into the center. Just They're, for me, just finished. Okay. Give yourself a little bit of a shake. And just notice, how's that feeling now? The lower burner. Got that kidney one open, through the legs into the lower burner. And then middle burner. Just done a little bit of tapping down and a little bit of circling the belly with the stomach and spleen. How's that now in the middle burner? Okay, so for me, a little bit of change, not much, I'm going to be honest. So let's do a bit more work. So the other quality that we've got in the middle burner is the liver and gallbladder. Now, one thing they really love is for a smooth movement and for expression. So both the qi and the blood settles into our liver, and then when it's ready to come out, it smoothly gets distributed out around the body, and then when it needs to rest again, it just comes back. So it's this kind of nice cycle movement. So it wants to be smooth in doing so. So we're going to have that movement many of us love doing, this turning. Now, the thing to remember is the hips want to be nice and soft and open and loose. You're moving on a central axis. You're not tipping over like that. And if you're standing to do this, your knees don't want to be dropping in at any point. You want your knees to be over the tops of your feet. So you're much more turning from the hips here. And then the rest of the body can sort of let go and swing around it. Now, if you're quite tight around here, and it's a bit, oof, ow, that's how I'm feeling today, then take it a little bit easy at first. Also, if you're feeling a bit weak in here, and if your spine is feeling a bit weak, don't overdo it. Take it nice and easy. There we go. Now, if you're starting to feel like, okay, I'm getting a bit of movement going, sorry, plant, I'm going to step over here with my long arms. If you're feeling like, okay, this is all right, I can go a bit more, and I would like to go a bit more, then turn a bit more. And notice where your hands tend to go when they hit the body. Maybe you can sort of intend them to go up somewhere you need them, or further around. They can slap on a part of the body that may need to release a bit. So I've got some tightness in my ribs. Basically today I'm just really tight all over my body, achy. So I'm really glad I'm doing the class today. Okay. Now, if you're taking this nice and lightly, you can have a sense of coming up and sinking down, coming up and sinking down. So it's more like a sort of a floating, slightly more energetic movement. If you're doing this a bit stronger, you can also have that up and down thing. You'll just find that your arms will kind of flail all over the place a bit more. So be wary of what's in your room. Now, as we do this, have a sense of smooth twisting and untwisting. Untwisting, twisting, untwisting. Now you can turn a foot out. So it's almost like you sink down. You're not leaning back, you're sinking down. And as you sink down, the other foot comes open. Careful of walls. And you'll probably find that your body will twist round a bit further. Wow, okay. Been doing this for quite a while now. So let yourself start to come back to center, but naturally. Don't force a stop. Let yourself come back naturally. As I've said already, until this is sort of much more of like tiny, tiny movements, micro movements, until you're just becoming a bit more still. Okay, and a bit of a shake off. Now we're going to help this. We're going to help this along with doing some tapping down the liver channel. Now, in fact, we'll do a tapping down the gallbladder and then tapping up the liver. That's how we're going to do it. A bit like with the stomach and then the spleen. But the gallbladder goes down the outside edge, liver comes up the inside edge. Okay, so we're going to start on the ribs. Tap, 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 tap. Give it a couple of goes. Other side. If you can reach your hips, great. Now, if you can get around the backs of the hips, a good loose fist is great here. Tap down the outer side of the legs. Onto the, essentially you're moving to the second to last toe. And then come up from the big toe to the inside edge. I just find turning my feet out is enough. Keeping my knees a bit bent. But you may want to do one at a time. Okay, around the hips. Now, I encourage you to come up as high as you can with the thigh because we've got muscles at the top here that relate to the liver that often get tight and don't often get stretched out enough unless you do lots of yoga. Maybe you do. Last time. A little bit faster. Shake out. Okay. I tell you what, the last thing we're going to do for the middle diner in terms of exercise, what time have we got to? Ooh, already 42 minutes. Wow. Is I'm going to reach, if you're happy to, in whatever way is comfortable for you, bring your hands up above your head. Now, maybe you're happy to come straight up like this. I'm just going to keep my hands here so that you can kind of see them. And we're going to just gently allow ourselves to tip over. Allow your head to tip first. Allow that to let the body start to tip. Try to keep the hands and elbows at the sides, not kind of coming in sideways, just so you're feeling the opening of the side of the body. We're not having to go for like a full, just enough so that you feel an opening. Now take a nice breath in and relax and soften. One more. Allow this arm to drop as you breathe in, stretch up. And there we go. Okay, do the other side. Hands up. Head to drop. That encourages the body to drop. We're not going for a big stretch. Just going for feeling the opening. Just opening the sides of the body here. Doesn't matter how far you go, just until you feel it. We'll take a nice breath. Soften, soften. Maybe you have to open a bit more. So the breath is opening. And relax. Stretch up. Come up. Out, 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 out. Hopefully that was okay for your shoulders. But like I said, liver and gallbladder govern the sides of the body. Okay. So we've done twisting. We've done tapping down the outer and inner of the legs to the liver and gallbladder. We've done a stretch for the sides of the body. And we did the stomach and spleen circles and tapping of the fronts of the legs. So let's just check in. Start with kidney 1, relaxes and opens, soles of the feet on the ground. Feel that earth. Feel the ground, relax the legs, feel the ground through the legs, into the belly. Now, how's your lower burner doing? Still okay? Yeah, mine's still pretty good from before. Not quite as strong, but we'll come back to that. Now to the middle burner that we've just been working on. That was the one that lots of people wanted to work on. Okay, so for me, a lot easier. It's not feeling so full and stuck. It's a lot easier. Excellent. Now we have the upper burner. So we're going to start with, let's start with the lungs. So we'll just do some lung stretches, okay? So we're going to just do one simple lung stretch and have the thumb and forefingers sort of opened out. I'll come back a bit. And it's just like a yawn. You just, however's easiest for you to do. And if you can't, go right up here. Just have a sense of kind of like opening out the arms and having the thumbs sort of stretching back a little. Notice whereabouts in your arms that's going. But if you can get up, then big breath in. Now, I think it's good to say here that autumn, the time of year that we're in, is to do with the metal element, which is the lung and the large intestine. And one of the main things to do with the lungs is breathing. So in order to help your general overall health, to help your Qi at this time, make sure you spend some time in the week focusing on your breathing. Maybe doing some breathing exercises if you know some. I'm not going to go through any great ones today. We always incorporate breathing into the movements in some way. So you find yours. But I just wanted to let you know that. It's important now to work with your breathing so that later on in the year, there's less likely of illness to come through. Okay, so we've done a little bit of this. We'll just do a little bit of a tap down the lungs. Comes from here, down the sort of upper inner aspect to the thumb, up the forefinger to the upper outer aspect of the arm. Other side. I'm just going to do it once because there's still a bit to get through in time creeping on. Okay. Maybe you're already noticing a change in the upper body. So it's like an instant way of working with the upper body is the lungs. But now we're going to get a bit more inside with the heart and the heart protector. So just do a quick heart stretch. This is the one where I'll sink down a bit so you can see it. We bring the hands above the head. Hands are together. And if you can, open the elbows out a bit. Yeah, and that helps to open out the armpits, which is where the heart channel enters the body from the arms. So opening out the elbows to open the armpits, breathing in, and then just allowing your hands, if you can, to sort of just weight backwards. So they're just stretching back. You're not tipping, you're just letting the hands go backwards. Okay. Breathing in, breathing out, elbows open, hands tipping backwards. I find for me, I just need to stick my bum out a bit for my back to not feel strained. Okay. We'll just do one more. Okay. Whoa. Maybe shake the legs out a bit again because we're just doing a bit of the upper stuff. Now we're going to do this lovely heart protector stretch here. Remember that one? So we start in breathing as if we're diving. Started breathing forwards. And then breathing out as we move backwards. And sort of have the hands almost pointing backwards from the middle finger. In. And out. Ooh, trying to hold it that extra second or so just really does a bit of something to the arms. Okay, last one. And then out. Lovely. Now, we're going to tap down the arm, and then we're going to do point of the week. Where have we got to? 51 minutes. Okay, we're still able to do this. So this time, rather than being right on top of the chest, we're a bit further down. Now, last week we did point 1 is kind of near the nipple. So if the nipple in men and when we're children is here, it would be just outside of it. Now, we're just above that. So we are in the breast tissue with women. If it is in any way tender, just be very light, tapping across. That's all. If it doesn't feel right for you, then just stay further up and have the sort of intention of it meeting further down. We're not trying to tap to the nipple, it's above it. Now, if you want to be really specific, you're in the third rib space, the third intercostal space. Okay. Tapping, tapping, tapping. When you get to the edge of the pectoral muscle, the edge of the chest, then you just come up to the shoulder, and then it's all the way down the middle. All the way down the middle. Middle finger. Turn the hand over. And then it's the second to last finger. And then it's still up the middle of the forearm, pretty much the middle of the back, middle of the upper arm, and middle of the back of the shoulder. We'll just come to the chest, shoulder, middle of the arm, middle of the hand, middle finger, second last finger, middle of the outside of the arm, middle of the back of the shoulder. Okay, one last time. And we don't want to be too forceful with the pericardium, because it's something that really covers and to a large degree really surrounds in many different ways the heart in its function as well as in its actual physical organ. Okay, let's just notice how the two sides are feeling. Quite different for me. Now we'll come to this side. Again, third intercostal space, just a little way above the nipple. If the breast tissue is tender, just take it nice and lightly, or just come above. If you feel you can, tap through to the edge of the pectoral muscle and then up to the shoulder, middle of the arm. It's called the heart protector for a nice reason, you know. If there's any vulnerability within us that's feeling a bit more sensitive, this will tend to come up. So it's worth treating it nicely and just as sensitively as it may be feeling itself. So up the middle of the arm, around the back. Last time. Brushing off. Okay. And just notice how the two arms feel. Okay. We've got just enough time for point of the week before we finish. No, I won't get the chair. I'll just come and join you over here. Hello, everyone. Now, I'm going to get the slides up again. Here we go. Dinky, dinky, dink. Pericardium 6, heart protector 6. Now this is a point, we're going to, as it shows here, you're at 3 thumb widths, and it's not including your little finger. So you're going to close the little finger off. It's like dib, 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 or whatever the scouts do. And it's those 3 fingers from the wrist crease. Those 3 fingers, and it's below that finger is where the point is. So we'll get right up close. These 3 fingers, put them across there, and it's just below, and it's right in the middle, right in the middle. Now for me, I've got lots of tendons, and I've even got a little crisscross of veins. It's almost like some veins crisscross at that exact point. So it's quite easily marked out for me. I'm quite glad. You may have noticed wristbands that have a little magnet on them, which are good for travel sickness. Now, they're not meant to be held here. They're meant to be held at that point, because this is the best point for any nausea or sickness. As you see, Neiguan, inner pass or inner gate. The guan part is also sort of sometimes translated as shutting off or closing. And there's partly a reason for this, which we'll come to in a second. It harmonizes the stomach. It can also help to harmonize the liver a certain amount as well. It regulates the heart and calms the spirit, and it unbinds the chest. I mean, that's a lot of stuff going on right there. So just the physical stuff. The chest feels tight, not asthmatic tight, but like panicky tight or anxious tight up in the chest. Different to when you've got a knot in your, sometimes you're anxious and you have a knot in your belly. An anxious chest is when it feels very tight and bound up. And so this helps to just free it and open it. The regulating the heart and calm the spirit, that's more the mind, the spirit, agitation in one's life. I mean, we all need a bit of that. Harmonizes the stomach. Again, that sense of if it's coming up when it needs to be going down. Stomach chi needs to go down. So part of the reason is because this is like a gate point for the diaphragm. And the diaphragm grew, the fabric for the pericardium and the diaphragm and the liver all grew together. And the stomach, the tube that goes to the stomach, goes through the diaphragm. So this is like really important for the diaphragm, and that's why it has so much effect in all of these areas. So let's have a little play. So just find the point, 3 fingers width down, find the point there in the middle. And for a moment, we're just going to relax. We're not going to go straight into the point, just going to relax. Okay, get into your alignment, head floating up, spine hanging down. Relax the shoulders. Notice how you're feeling now in yourself. And then just hold this point and bring a little bit of, so I'm doing it like this, where I'm just allowing my thumb to sink in, the weight of my arm. How's that? Whereabouts are you feeling it? Are you feeling it more through the arm to the chest? Are you feeling it more all the way into the middle bana? Are you just feeling it generally in yourself as like a, ooh, that's nice, or ooh, I'm calming? So I'd love to hear from you if you want to, but let's do the other side first. Okay, so we're going to let go of that side, come to the other side. These 3 fingers from the wrist crease down. Find the point. Oh, I wish we had more time. Okay. So we're just going to come to this point to finish off. Hold this point. Sink in. Whereabouts are we feeling this? Sinking into the shoulder and the chest. Sinking more into the diaphragm and the middle burner. More into a general feeling in yourself. Okay. So just, if you want to, let us know if you felt anything in particular. I certainly felt this side was instantly into the chest, and I could let it go into the diaphragm, less so going on with a general feeling. Other side was definitely more diaphragm related. Okay, I'm going to drop this. Oh, yeah, I'll take this away now, but you'll probably see it again sometime. And just as we're about to go, I know I've already gone over by time, but let's just have a sense of the class together again to finish off. Okay, just how we started. So just bring your attention into yourself, step away from the keyboard, have a sense of everyone else in the class who's just joined in. Thanks very much. Thank everyone else. Have a sense of that lovely, what a nice community. What a nice group. Okay, thank you so much, everyone. It's lovely to be joining in the class again. I will be doing another one near the end of the month, I think. Cliff, I believe, will be back in a couple of weeks. And other than that, have a lot of fun. Enjoy yourselves for the rest of the Wednesday. Lots of love to all of you too. Thank you very much for your hearts and thanks. It's just lovely to be joining in. Okay, bye-bye everyone. And thank you, Dinah. Thank you, Dinah, for doing the chat.